Troy,
Yeah,
how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Can't complain, can't complain. It's a little, we in ponds, a little windy, hurricane season, a little
Good.
vibe, but we outside. We outside with it, you know.
And it's
Um,
summertime.
oh yeah, that's a blessing. But it's summertime all year round, so it's a blessing to live out here in South
It is.
Florida. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad to be home.
Facts, facts. Well, for the people that don't know who you are, introduce yourself. Who is Troy Veal?
My name is Troy. I'm a filmmaker, director, screenwriter. I can do anything on the set. I'm from Carroll City, and I was born in Boston, so
Or
well-rounded
I didn't know that.
individual.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I know you had ties to Boston, but I didn't know you was born in Boston.
Yeah.
But Boston,
Don't
don't
start.
get me started, boy. You
Don't
know how I feel
start.
about Boston. Um, but I just want to say this before we start with the questions. I've known you for about what, like five years now,
Yes.
and I would say I've seen you grow to and flourish to what you are today. So it's truly an honor to interview you and go through this journey in your life and career journey overall, because man. Well, first things first, you made me look at filmmaking on a whole nother level, especially when it comes down to the writing, because when you broke down when I think we was at Starbucks one time. I was trying to get into like something. I didn't know what movie or what. I had just had an idea, and you was like, Aaron, you got to do this first before you get to the script. And I was just like, whoa, like I didn't know how deep this shit gets.
And thank you. Likewise, you grew a lot too because I've seen you and watched you, and it's inspiring to watch. Like
Mhm.
they always say, work with people on your level and stuff, and everybody has their own lane and specialty. But
Right,
I've seen you grow in yours and
right.
even branch out and be receptive
Hmm.
to feedback, to being challenged, which everybody can do. It's
It's
something that not every artist has.
Yeah, it's a journey because boy, sometimes that pride kick in. I ain't doing that. I'm just gonna stick with what I know. But now you gotta keep on. Um, you gotta keep on. I don't know how to say it. Like more like be on the evolution to your growth. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep on, cause things change. You gotta know how to pivot. You gotta know how to maneuver. You know, so it was definitely a growth. But yeah, man, we here, man. We here. So I want to start off with your upbringing. I believe you said Boston. Where you from? You mentioned that, but what was your childhood like? Overall, where from I guess from a Boston standpoint or a South Florida standpoint, or my bad, Carroll City. Um, I'm petty, but nah. Just overall, like, how was your childhood like?
Okay, my childhood, I unfortunately lost my parents at a young age, so I had a village around me that always lifted me, always encouraged me. In Boston, I went to the library a lot because they offered programs and just a space to be a kid. So I saw different performances, different shows there, and different speakers that really had an impact on me. And even when I didn't always have access to a TV or the movies I wanted to watch, you can go to the library and get. I used to go crazy getting books because I can't tell me nothing. But that, and also transitioning, I moved to South Florida when I was about 7, 8. So it was just a difference. Miami could be a culture shock, but growing up, it really just molded me. Everything around me, my family, my influences, just one thing that remained constant was wherever you go, there's that same thing people are interested in: entertainment and the movies and the books and the shows. And so it just made me well rounded. It just made me have different perspectives.
Word, word. No, that's interesting. That's interesting to know. You mentioned about like the library and certain things about the movies. Growing up, did you grow up around creativity or the arts? And if so, who first encouraged you or influenced you to create?
My family encouraged me. I didn't grow up around the arts, but they made sure that we were in programs. I mentioned the library because we basically lived there. It was every day. Y'all bored, y'all could go to the library.
Right,
And it was it was really enrichment for me to see a librarian that came in every day, and every day she would try to be doing something different with us. So it was whether she was reading books to us or whether she was just like giving references, and then you could rent DVDs and stuff from the library too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that was, you couldn't tell me nothing after that, and it really is making sure kids are exposed to the arts, because in Boston, our field trips was going to the Boston Symphony and doing different things that I definitely feel made me a storyteller. Coming to Miami the first time I went to Northern Middle, I saw the play Aida, and I was like, "Who are they? How
right,
they how they learned to do that?"
right. Especially black kids,
Yeah,
especially black
talented,
kids in Boston
talented.
and down here, So that's a good perspective. I feel like the library is so much, man. The library
It's
is so
underrated.
underestimated. It's so underestimated
Come
because
on.
I feel like when I started going to, I mean, I've been going to the library, but not as frequent when I was young. But when I got older, I mean, I'm still in my 20s, but like I started to go more like maybe like the last, I think, honestly, probably like during a little bit after the pandemic, I
Yeah.
started going a little bit more. I'm like, yo, all these books, is they modern and you could get it for free, and then it's like it's so many resources other than just the book element. It's just not even the computer elements. A lot of the things that a lot of people are trying to look for and into the community, it's in the library.
It's in the library. And then you have different libraries. People underestimate the fact that maybe your local library isn't as big or has the greatest catalog. But you could go 15 minutes Aventura
Oh yeah,
downtown,
that's the best one.
and those libraries be amazing. It's almost like, think of it like churches. Everyone is built different, shaped different,
Right,
have different things inside. So I'm an advocate for just reading and always being able to tell a story no matter where it come
right,
from.
right. The underestimated one is Fort Lauderdale, the Fort Lauderdale Library on Broward
A
Boulevard. Do you have been there? They
no,
got 8 floors.
it,
Yes, on Broad Boulevard. And then another good library I went to, it's not in Miami, but was the Brooklyn Library. That one was amazing. Where Jay Z had his thing at?
that's crazy.
Yeah,
And it's things like that. I would travel to go see the different libraries
yeah. It's
because they
amazing.
really have some amazing, amazing buildings. And I hope they never go away, because
Nah,
wherever you have people in community, you need a library.
yeah. And then when you, us being from Miami, when you go to these other libraries, we have resources for sure, but it's kind of limited
Yeah.
because it's like the amount of resources of books that's in like the one I went to in Brooklyn. I was like, yo, we don't have these type of books in down here. So it gives you a whole perspective of like the geographic, how you say it, geographical perspective of the different libraries around the country. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or maybe even worldwide.
Right.
Yeah.
No, definitely. In Japan, they have
Oh
libraries.
yeah.
Come on.
Don't get me
Come
started.
on.
Yeah, Japanese
It,
is a whole nother
it
world.
really is just, you don't have to limit yourself or where you can get your information from.
Right.
And for some people, that could be the news, or that could even be, X or Twitter, that could be social media. But for me, that really is staying connected to. wherever it's home, and I keep a library card on my keys
Oh yeah,
because
facts, facts. You
you
know
never know
so.
when you need it.
Yeah, you know so for sure. Um, who were your biggest other than your family? Who were your biggest creative influences growing up?
A big creative influence for me was Oprah
Oh wow,
because I seen her on TV almost all my life and not just doing one thing.
word.
She had her hands in so many things, but also what everybody knew about Oprah was she was rich.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was inspirational to me
I feel
for
like
the longest time.
I feel like Oprah don't get her credit.
She she don't get her credit because not only has she brought like some Oprah has had a book club
Hmm.
that will put your book on the map for years
Right.
and years, right? Like, how many people do you know have their own magazine? Oprah
Damn. Yeah.
has not just a TV industry, she knows media, period.
Hmm.
So I've always
And a
admired her.
personality.
Yeah, seeing her push that from going from a host and journalist to seeing her in films and produce and just elevate every time she's in a lane of her own, a league of her own that
Can't nobody can't
can't
beat.
nobody touch or take away. That lady is amazing to me. You could go to any country and they know Oprah name.
Yeah.
Like, so to me, that was so inspiring because she's a black woman that's not the average size, and not for nothing, she's not even the average beauty standard,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
they will tell you it's so many barriers and walls that, that you can't walk into certain doors, and that's not true.
Hmm.
That's and my inspirations have always been people that I feel not only push what you can do and open doors, but also them rules don't apply to them.
Right.
And I
Right.
love that about
They
Oprah.
gotta do a film about her. I would be interested to see what went on behind the scenes.
Right. Right. And not only that, she's motivational. Like,
Right.
she went from, and say what you want, but like talk shows in the 90s to have a daytime show, that wasn't always positive things that, was we had Maury and Jerry Springer. Like,
Hmm. And
there
then she was
was
competing with Ricky Lake too.
ex- come on, Ricky Lake, you and your bag. No, but
Yeah.
that's people don't understand like that pivot for her to be able to be on projects like The Color Purple, right? To make a production company, and that production company put out film after film that's meaningful, and work with actors like Cicely Tyson, and have brunches and throw like these amazing like balls and everything at her house. People underestimate the fact that not only is she a black woman in media and a mogul, but like her business mind to me is unmatched. She turns that all into a step for the next generation
Right.
to do something else. So
Right. Right. What was your earliest memory of you starting to develop your love and passion for storytelling? Was it writing, watching movies, or something else entirely?
it was TV shows. Um, I liked whatever my mama liked because it was the thing that made a person come back every week. My earliest, one of my earliest memories of her, she used to watch The Sopranos, and I did not know what it was about, but I'm like, it must be good. She turned it on every week.
Right.
And so just cinematography, and my room was right across from hers, like across the wall. So like bedtime, we used to have to go in the room and, turn the lights off and everything. But her room used to be lit up. I'm like, colors, everything, because of what she was watching. And to me, that's how I gauged if her show was good or bad. I'm like,
Right.
it's a lot going
Right.
on in there. There's a lot of colors. they must be going crazy. I just want to watch. I don't even have to
Yeah.
turn the
Yeah.
channel. Because as a kid, you want to watch what you want to watch.
Right.
But it was like, if you just let me watch what you watch, and I promise I won't even
Yeah.
ask for nothing.
Yeah.
But episodic and serial TV kind of was my first introduction to being able to invest people in a story. And I really love shows to that day. You get lost in it. And it is the new form of storytelling because you would have books that have volumes the same way shows have season after season that you could go back to. I even love rewatching my favorite shows because you learn something new every time.
Right.
So that was my first love for storytelling, just wanting to come back over and over again to see what happens next to the characters.
Or that's a whole crazy perspective. Like, but in a way, your mom kind of, I guess, your mom influenced that for you. You know what I'm saying? So
For sure.
that's an interesting perspective. So I want to transition into your love for storytelling and journey into film. Um, do you remember the first time you wrote something or created something and thought, this is what I want to do, or just taking it seriously, officially into storytelling?
I was in high school and I was in an English class, but my English teacher, Miss Martin, she had a little activity. It was to write a response to a story, and I wrote my very honest response. I always felt like I was a good writer. When she gave it back to me, she marked all over my paper like crazy, and I was so confused. And she said, "This is really good, but this is how it could be better." And I spent the entire time in her class trying to get better as a writer. And that pushed me as an artist because it was the first time I felt seen and encouraged to do more than I was doing. Um,
Especially for a young girl. Yeah. So like at that time in high school, you needed
it,
all the encouragement those
exactly.
times.
So from there, I wanted to do more, and that led me to want to write for every genre. I wanted to write books. I wanted to write poetry. I wanted to write films.
Right.
And I love that now I can look back and see how far that got me. Just somebody believing in me and telling me not just you did a good job, but you could also do better. You could also do this at a higher level than you
Right.
doing it right now,
Right.
because that didn't occur to me. So shout out to the people that can see in children how far they could go.
It's crazy hearing that. I remember when, well, a lot of people don't know this, but at least yet that we working on my short film, and when we was doing the writing, you was like, Aaron, this is cool, but you got to think of it like this. This could be better. I was like, so hearing that, it's like in hindsight, it's just crazy how that happened to you in the beginning stages of just writing in general.
And I'll do you one better because I remember sitting down with you at Starbucks the first time you
Yeah,
came to
yeah,
me with a film idea.
yeah.
And no lie, the second time you came to me with a film idea, I said, "How I produce it? How can I help you?" Because you had it, and that's just
Yeah.
growth. That's just knowing that it don't matter where somebody start at. It don't matter. You can never treat people like you just starting writing. You ain't gonna catch up to me. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
They could learn and surpass you.
All right.
You
All
never
right.
know someone's capability, so you have to just be mindful how you can play a part in somebody else's process coming along and doing this, because it's a hard industry.
Yeah, it is.
So
It is. Yeah.
it's
People don't understand.
it's
Yeah.
a hard industry,
Hmm.
and you can make it harder for yourself by not being willing to work with people or
Right.
even take a chance on people.
Right.
And that's something I pride you for. It was it really
It's not about me. Why
it
I
is
always
about
do
me.
that?
And as a
Nah, but it's
writer,
real though. It's real though.
being able to see in other writers or even
Right.
just across the lines from another perspective, you know, we all have to work together to make a movie,
Right. It's
right?
collaborative. It's a
It's
collaborative journey with that.
as a writer, as a director, I can't make a movie on my own.
Right. Right. That yeah, man. That going back very briefly on what you said, like the second go around. I think the first go around, once I realized the outline perspective, I was like, oh nah, like I gotta when I come back at it, I gotta do something that I don't want to do, and the second go around always worked out.
Mm.
And yeah, it's a lot of people don't understand, man. It's like not even just writing, just making a film or making, I don't care if it's a commercial or anything, producing and all. It's a lot of hands that go into doing these things. Like look, look what we doing right now. Like this is a collaborative thing. This is a we had to like do a lot of things behind the scenes that the actual viewer don't really understand. This content in general, you know, you gotta have a collaborative effort. I don't give a damn if it's photography. Like it's still a collaborative effort in all those regards, you know. But I'm curious. How did you begin developing your craft once you knew that this was more than just a passion? Because those times, okay, I want to do this, but then you don't know where to begin. You don't know how to take things to that next level. You know.
For me, I didn't have many examples around that was doing what I wanted to do full time. So I knew I was walking my own path. When I knew I wanted to take it seriously, I needed to go to school. I applied to New World's program after high school for acting because I didn't have that background. I wasn't in magnet or in arts programs necessarily in high school. So I wanted to get a understanding of the craft of how to start. Then that led me to going to film school at Emerson, and the artists I met in college I value to this day because they taught me to take myself seriously, to take my art seriously, no matter what I'm doing, because a school can't give you the guarantee that
Right.
your career gonna take off.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
learn everything about a subject and you could be a teacher. That
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you're gonna work in the industry and be successful.
Right.
It really is taking a chance on yourself, betting on yourself, and taking seriously your ideas, seeing them through. The passion is one thing, but I knew that when I wanted to do this more, I had to take everything seriously. I did it every day. When I wanted to act at the time, and this was kind of my development into how I became a director, I did everything on the set first.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta know how to do everybody. You gotta go through everybody's job to really understand to get this image or this picture in motion. Like in order to be a director, not all, but some directors, they start off from the PA into working the system to where when they direct, they already know what to pinpoint. Hey, I need this, like, or I need assistance on this, or blah blah blah. Blah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree.
I went to acting school, I went to film school,
Right.
I was a producer, a writer, a PA. I did it all. So I know that when I finally stepped on the set as a director, to take it seriously and have respect for every single person
Right.
in each position, because somebody is working hard to get where you want to be. And I've worked hard to be taken seriously and for people to see how far I've come and recognize that not only do I know my value, I know there's value in my ideas too
Right.
and my experience.
Right.
So that doesn't just come from school. Of course, you have to put the effort behind yourself. Nobody gonna come give it to you, the job you want.
Mhm.
Nobody gonna come give you your dream. You gotta work for it, and you gotta see it for yourself,
Right.
and not let anybody deter you from that.
I was looking at a YouTube video the other day, and it was about branding, but it, he was saying about how like all these like big names like Wes Anderson and all these big directors, when they hire like the crew, yeah, it's all about who you know, but it's really all about if they could trust you to execute the idea that they're trying to do on screen. If you're gonna, because you're gonna be on the whole set like for long periods of time, can you execute these ideas? Are you able to fold under pressure? No, I mean not fold under pressure. So it's just like they got to be able to trust you. So that's why one of the greatest of all time, when they collaborate with other creators, is because it's more like if they could execute the job. A lot of people forget. Yeah, getting the job is cool, but people forget about the execution. That's like the key element. So when you say that, yeah, about collaborators, it's definitely it's definitely a big thing. um, how did your love for storytelling guide your steps into the film industry? I'm sorry, and was it through writing, producing, or something else? I think you kind of briefly said it. You know how you briefly said based on like you went to acting school and all these different things, but um, how did your love for storytelling guide you into those steps?
My love for storytelling guided me because you have to find your voice, and how I would tell a story is different from how you might or the next director would. So, what makes it true to me is being able to tap into what's genuine for me, what inspires me, what decision I would make that would help this story be told. All of this is important in the writing process and the directing process, because you have times where the decision has to be made in the story, in the film, and nobody else can make that choice for you. But if you don't make it, somebody is going to have to make it for you.
Right.
So, storytelling has guided me because you have to get clear on your vision every single time. And the clearer you are, the better your story, the more relatable it could be for your audience. And what's true for you usually is universal things that's true for other people too.
Mhm. Along that journey, what were some of the hardest moments where you were questioned if this path was really for you? Because boy, like you said, this industry, it's crazy.
The hardest moments is it's not very glamorous. It's it's a lot of sacrifice of time.
Well, what I'm saying is like, what was that moment like for you? Like, do you remember that specific moment when it was like got too hard for you, or do you remember what was the one of the hardest moments specifically?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm,
My first time producing
mm,
a short film, the first day, the we had a production team. It was myself, the writer and director, shout out to Jeru, who asked me on the project. and another young lady who was producing unfortunately couldn't continue in the production the first day we were filming. So
Woo.
nobody cares that
Right.
somebody else didn't show up. Nobody cares about what happened with the production team.
Right.
They care if you are delivering and you are doing your job. And I asked myself, am I really, did I really sign up for this? Was I was in a different city,
Mm.
taking off my own job, trying to make it happen, spending my own money to do things for the production. And my own sister was like, "You're not getting paid."
Yeah. Family and
and
friends always do. They don't understand. It's that passion, though. It's that
and
passion.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the passion comes in, because that wasn't glamorous at all. I was
Right.
not
Right.
making money. I was giving it, giving everything I had for
What you love.
what I love, and to keep my word and to show up every day better than I did the day before. And we had 6 days on set. So day one was hard, but it didn't get no easier. It
A lot of problem solving.
it's a lot of problem solving. And if you can problem solve, if you can step outside of your own ego and how hard it must be for you, and look at the people that is working right alongside you, right with you, and value what they're doing too, it makes the job 10 times easier.
Right.
Because as hard as it was, my my worst day on set was still one of the most fun times of my life. Was it a lot of pressure? Was it hard? Yes, but what we did really meant something. And now, years later, because it doesn't happen overnight, we're premiering that film at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. So
Yeah. Shout out to you.
it
Shout out
feels
to
full
you.
circle
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But
I
was it
mean,
easy? No.
higher the risk, the bigger the reward. So that really be the mindset. When
Yeah.
it come down to that. Well, um, speaking of sacrifices, I want to tap in more mentally and mostly like a personal level. What sacrifice? Excuse me. What sacrifices did you have to make emotionally, financially, or personally to keep going in this crazy industry? You kind of briefly talked about it in that particular moment, but just an overall perspective of just in general of like just going through the industry, like you'll have a a job right here, in perspective of like a gig, and then you might not hear hear from different people throughout the whole year. So let's speak on that, mostly on a personal level, mentally.
So the sacrifices come. It's, I think, the sacrifice that most people come up against. And being disciplined takes time. It it takes a lot of investment, not only financially, but I've sacrificed time with my family, time being able to show up,
Oh my god, they don't understand. Oh my god.
and self
Yeah.
isolating sometimes,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
no, I can't have fun and party with y'all. I have to go do this. And people are understanding. My family is understanding. Shout out to my family. They're so supportive and I love them. But it's also very hard to not be able to be there when I want to be, when I
Yeah.
truly, truly would want to show up. And I have obligations and priorities and
Right.
goals I'm trying to reach that may not allow me to do every single thing I want to do with them. Also, you have the sacrifice of just maintaining relationships. It can
Yeah.
be difficult.
A lot of people don't talk
Friendships,
about that. Damn, that's crazy.
friendships is
Yeah. Yeah.
when you locked in and this is important. Sometimes that
Mm.
can look like you haven't shown up for the people in your circle the way you wanted to. Um, Romantic relationships as well. It can
Mhm.
feel like they're coming second now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's not a good feeling.
It's not. It's not.
But to me, like you said, jobs and gigs and working has its seasons where it can be very busy at times, and then you'll have when that slows down and you can breathe and you can take a minute and you can do all the things you wanted to do, and people be like, where you been,
Right.
how's everything, and it can be a little self-isolating just to work so hard for something and people not be able to see it
Right.
uh, as you go.
Yeah, yeah, man, that's crazy. I don't think people really talked about that. Like, I'll talk about it, like privately with certain people, but like this, the love of passion that you have for any endeavor of like in the arts, when you go to another level, those sacrifices that you like, people don't. It's been times where I don't even go to like family events. Like, I don't remember the last time I really went. You know what I'm saying? Like those little moments, or like you said, relationships with friends, and they don't even hit you up to go to things because they know, oh, such and such is busy, so I'm not gonna bother him, or like so it's a lot of people understand this is it's not a normal lifestyle. It's not a normal lifestyle at all.
And you get close to the people that you work with all the time,
Right,
and those fortunately have become friends and people I hold very dear just for that reason. We have the same understanding, and shout out to the friends and family that no matter what, they love you and understand because they see what you're doing.
right, right. Um, I'm curious also. How did you? Well, speaking of this, like crazy industry, how did you handle the rejection or doubt that often comes with trying to make a name for yourself in the film or any creative industry? Because that is constant rejection.
Rejection and doubt is difficult. You have to be able to stay grounded. The the praise can't move you from who you are, and the rejection shouldn't move you from who you are either.
Right, right,
You have to stay consistent and know that your perspective has value, and keep doing the work that you're doing, and remember your reason why. I have to remember my reason why every single time I start something new, and that helps you when people say, no, I don't want this, then maybe they weren't the people that was supposed to have it.
right,
Not that it's not good, not that I'm not good enough. And it's no room I could walk into that could make me feel like I can't do this,
right.
because I know I can.
Because you got to train your mind to have that.
And you can't just rely on, they told me I could do it, I can do it. No, you could tell me I'm the greatest, I'm this, if I don't feel like it was the greatest, this
Mhm.
wasn't my best, it wasn't my best.
Right. Law of attraction, though, too.
Exactly.
Yeah, law of
So
attraction.
you gotta stay true.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Let's talk more about. Let's go back into the reading. Let's talk about more of your creative process. Um, so your paper is your canvas.
It is.
When you first start developing a project, what starts the spark? A theme, a character, a question. What is it?
The creative spark can come from just living, but more more specifically, the creative spark comes from questions. I'm always asking why. I'm always asking a new question about this industry and the project.
Right.
What matters now? Why should I be the one telling this story? And what do people need that they don't have or don't see right now?
Mm-hmm.
Some of those questions have brought me some of my best creative work. And always questioning means that you're always trying to learn. So I'm always trying to learn about process. I'm always trying to learn how to get better and how to get more specific and detailed, because that's the reason Ryan Coogler is such a good storyteller, because he can tap into questions that really, really matter.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. How you said it was just a question. 'Cause I would never think that. As interesting, but that's a good perspective as well because um, the way that you put it is like you know when you keep on asking questions, you're gonna get you're gonna try to figure out the answer of that, and then that's when you learn. That's a definitely a great perspective that you put that there. Um, but once you get the idea, what's the first move? Do you outline? Do you dive into dialogue, or you just sit for a while just to think about it?
I outline. You can,
I definitely know that for
you need
sure.
a good outline. If
Hmm.
you have a good outline, it doesn't matter how long it takes you.
Hmm.
You have a roadmap to finish.
Okay.
If you don't have an outline, not every artist works the same way. Not every artist outlines. But if I just have my ideas in my head and no outline, I can't give that to someone for them to follow, for them to help me, for them to collaborate.
Right.
I have an idea. I need to put that on paper and see where that goes, see if it makes sense, because sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
And for me, outlining is being very descriptive, very detailed. The homie sent me his outline, and it was 17 pages. I said, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the outline.
Yeah.
And that taught me something, just because depending on what you're doing, you have to get very, very detailed and what that looks like and where it can go.
Right. Right. So, how do you balance structure and creative flow when working on a script, producing on a film?
Structure and creative flow, I feel I balance by asking myself, and this is something I heard Shonda Rhimes say and quote, who did Scandal and Grey's Anatomy, phenomenal black screenwriter. And she just said, you have to know how it ends.
Mm.
And sometimes that principle is what gets me through my outline. I may not know every single piece of my story, but I know how it ends. And to me, that's when you can press go, and that's when you can let the creative part take over. How we get into the next part? How does that next part get me to my end?
Right.
How do it make sense?
Right.
And you can fill in the blanks easier than you can say, how does this end? It's too many. It's too many variables. It's
Right.
too many ways to make something end. You can get yourself from point A to point B easier than you can just go somewhere with no direction.
Right. So how do you detail your outlines before you start writing the actual script? Like how, like, cause I know that sometimes you have to talk about. What blew my mind was when you said even the age matter, right? So let's talk about that. Like, how detailed are you when it comes down to the outlines for the character?
I can be very detailed, especially for main characters. It starts with backstory, and backstory starts with what was their childhood like,
Mm.
and that takes me through just thinking about what was their high school or teenage years like, and what are they like as an adult.
Right.
So for me, the backstory, the outline, you get as detailed as you need to get for that character, because the story that you're telling didn't start today. They should have a whole history. And that's something that is fun for me because it's world building.
Right.
What was that character's world like? If I'm telling a story that is based off of a character maybe my grandmother inspired, what was her world like? What was that like for her in childhood? Segregated. She talk about school in Miami,
Right.
how it was segregated,
Right.
right? So that gives that adult character a different reality.
And more depth.
Exactly. What was a teenage like? She got married when she was a teenager.
Right.
So,
And that's easier for the director to direct because you're when the collaboration, even so a lot of people don't know, we know this, but a lot of people don't know, like when you shoot like something, it's not only the director that's directing, it's the line director that's helping the actor or
yeah,
actress, like, yo, I think you should say it like this, or I think you should say it like that. So it's not only it goes back to the collaborative effort on set, but yeah, like that perspective creates more in depthness. So when the director directs the actor or actress, they'll have a more easier technical or aspect of the character where you need a pivot
yeah,
on the camera. So
for sure.
yeah, that's a yeah. I get technical for sure. It does get technical for sure. So what's your relationship with rewrites? Do you love revising or hate it? I mean, you did talk about how your teacher did that, um, in high school, but what's your relationship with it now?
I have a love hate relationship. Sometimes cutting a project down to make sure it's industry standard, or to make sure that it fits your requirements, because you could be applying to something, all your love and care could go into your script. It could be 200 pages. The max they may accept is 180.
Right. Mm.
Off top, you gotta cut down 20 pages. Or it can be something where you have a full project, but you want to make it into short format. So you have to take something that is 60 pages and make it 20. And it still have to stand alone and be good. So rewrites and revising, it's the nature of the beast. You have to get really clear about what's important to your story, and that can be hard because sometimes it can feel like everything's important to the story,
Right.
but that's not true. The elements that you choose to highlight really do have to speak for themselves, and have to be strong on their own. So I try to make sure that I have themes that not only are good no matter what length they are, it's something that will make it easier for you in your editing process to make edits or rewrite,
Right.
because the theme is so strong itself. And also just being open to constructive criticism. When you write in usually bigger projects, shows have whole writing teams. TV shows have writers' rooms where you have a lot of people giving you feedback. I was I was able to have the college experience where I worked in writers' rooms. We were put into groups, big groups that had to turn in one final uh, project, and it really was just a learning lesson to get comfortable with learning how to get better quicker, and that's what a rewrite is to me.
Right. Right. But how did you know? Well, how do you know when a project is ready to be shared or pitched?
It's ready to be shared or pitched when you can tell someone about it in 3 minutes or less. You should be able to sum up and summarize your work in a short amount of time. If you can't, sometimes that shows that the idea isn't fully formed. If I can't make you understand it in 5 minutes, I can't make you understand it in 50. So just knowing that, being clear on your vision, and once that is clear, once you could have a mission statement even for that work, the goal that you have for it, that's when you should share it. That's when you should put it out into the world, because every time somebody else sees something, it changes.
Right. What's the biggest difference between writing a story and producing it?
Writing a story is imagination, is creativity, is working with what you want. Producing it is working with what you have.
Right.
It's working with your limitations. It's working with your budget, working with the people you have available, the resources you have available. Writing, you can write for Marvel, and you have no limits to what you could do or say or create. Disney, you know, these studios that will allow you to do whatever. Producing is the reality of what you have. You have a set budget, you have a set time frame. So you really have to be able to execute, and not just execute, be realistic and deliver.
Right.
So writing can be fun. It can be all the things that producing is not, because producing is managing, is getting work done, is being resourceful
Right.
and problem solving.
When you're producing someone else's script, how do you help them maintain their voice while improving the work?
Maintaining the voice of the person that created the work is very important, because coming onto a project, you have to respect what was already there. So to me, the first thing that is required is mutual respect. I can't think my voice and my ideas are better than what you came up with. I can challenge you as a producer. I can remind you of certain things. Maybe this could be changed because, based on the budget, based on the time, this might be doable, this might not be doable, is a easier conversation than, no, that's not gonna work for somebody's project, when you coming on and you don't know if that's even possible. You kind of have to just be willing to collaborate, and like I said, not feel that your perspective or what you think is greater than the next person's ideas or thoughts.
What's your relationship? What's your relationship with discipline and reaching deadlines? Y'all have more of a tighter deadline than everybody else. I feel like, in my opinion.
Yeah. Deadlines and discipline go hand in hand. The more disciplined you can be, the better, because what I learned is that opportunities will pass you by. I love the saying, if it's meant for you, it won't ever miss you, right? Like, what's for you That's not true with deadlines and in this industry. It will miss you. You don't apply for that thing. You don't finish writing your script. You don't send it in. You may have some miracles that allow you to still enter certain rooms and do certain things, although you did not finish, show up, complete your work, but it won't keep you in rooms. You have to create that discipline. You have to deliver what you say you can deliver. And
Right.
that's that's something that I learned until I got tired of learning it.
Right.
That, if you have a deadline, make the deadline. Make the
Priority.
deadline the best you can.
Priority.
Right? Like it don't have to go out perfect. It have to go out.
Right.
So
Speaking of discipline, how do you push through creative blocks? Do you have a routine that help you get back in motion, or how do you go about with that? Because I can only imagine like with writers, you guys have like writer's block and all that stuff. Like it's like a whole nother level. So how do you um, pivot from having those creative blocks and to get back in motion to like back into the flow of things?
don't rely on inspiration.
Wow, I heard that. Man, I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Because that you know from living you get inspired, right? But that's not something that helps me get back in motion. So for me, it's showing up as much as I can, whatever is realistic for me, making a tiny promise. I'm gonna write every day. It don't matter if that's 2 sentences or if that's 30 pages, because at the end of the day, I want to rely on my momentum. I'm still going forward because I keep pushing forward, not because I was so inspired today. What I seen, what I heard, that song, that new album, that can't be what you rely on, because that's outside motivation rather than the standard that you set. It wasn't until I dedicated to myself to something daily that I saw my progress. And even things like workouts, walking, helped me get back into the habit of, okay, I said I'm gonna do this every day. I do it every day. I write every day. I walk every day. It's like breathing. You may not do a lot. You may not write as much. You may not walk as much, but it's consistent.
Because then at the end of the day, you're gonna go right back into it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like sometimes you need to take a breather and to like live life sometimes, and then
Yeah.
come back
Yeah.
into what you do. So let's talk about your career and projects. What types of stories are you drawn to the most, and how do you reflect from your own experiences?
I'm drawn to family stories. Um, I said before, I lost my parents at a young age, so I always had a village, which means up close, I always had family around me that rallied around me and lifted me and my sister. Um, I was raised by my auntie Trina and my uncle Jabaz as well. They are just beautiful human beings who allowed me to pursue my dreams. But that inspiration, I've seen my family in every stage, in every state, and not just my family, but extended family members. And we rally around each other all the time. I used to feel like showing up was one of the requirements, right? We was always going to some family member house if something happened. And that just gave me the groundwork for really, really loving the psychology of family dynamics. And so for that, I love family films. And if I'm honest, my favorite films was like family films my mama would watch. She would be watching Baby Boy, right? That was a story about uh, family, not just his romantic relationship, right? You had movies like Soul Food, which talked about like family relationships, and these was the movies that I grew up on. And so for me, I kind of make movies my mama would want to watch.
Right. No, that's dope. Can you walk us through a project that was deeply personal to you?
Yeah, so my first film that I wrote and produced, I actually shot here at this
Oh,
house.
oh, really?
And yes,
Damn, that's crazy.
and it's my cousin house, so we keep it in the family. No, but it was a family drama, and it was special to me because we shot it for the 48-hour film project, which you get a theme and you get a line that has to be in the movie, and you make it in 48 hours. I already had my team. Shout out to the cast and crew of Our Brother, but it it really was near and dear to me because I was talking about grief, I was talking about loss, and it was such a beautiful movie. It was the perfect film to start my journey, and I'm so grateful to everybody that was a part of that.
No, that's dope. I'm well, this is dope. I mean, this is gonna be legendary for you then. If this, that was that particular project means something to you, and the
Yeah.
fact that you're doing the interview here is like a whole like vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
A whole different vibe towards this interview. I'm very curious though. This is an interesting question to me because it's a balance. You gotta have balance between certain things. But I'm very
Yes.
curious from a writer's perspective. How do you know when a project should be yours alone versus when to collaborate?
So I wear so many hats. Sometimes you know when you need to collaborate based on your intuition, based on other people's ability and talent, and being able to do it yourself. There's only so much that you can do alone, but I feel like if you have the right team, nothing's impossible. Nothing's impossible. So I share the projects that I know would not be possible if I tried to do it myself. And sometimes you try to work with people and you see slowly but surely it don't work out. And that's okay too. That means go back to
The drawing board.
the drawing board. That means maybe let me see how I can do this myself if it's not working out with other people. You don't have to solely rely on other people. I feel like that's a cop out a little bit, um, to not put that faith in yourself and to get clear on your vision, especially if you're not clear about something yet. If you haven't really took the time to understand and discern why you're making what you want to make, or why you're doing what you want to do, you're not ready to share that project yet.
Right.
Because in somebody else's hands, they'll take that a whole different way than you would.
Hmm.
And it won't be yours no more. It'll be a group effort. And working with a group never changes. Everybody has worked on a group project. You have people that do not do their part.
You gotta know how to play your role.
You have to know how to play your role.
Yeah, yeah. Especially going back to being in a collaborative world that we in this industry. What do you look for in a creative partner? And I'm gonna make it a two-part question. And what makes a creative team work?
What I look for in a creative partner is somebody that's open to being challenged. Because the same way I want to be challenged and I want to do my best, I want to be able to challenge the person I'm working with so they can do their best too. And what makes a creative team work? Having a shared vision. You can tell when people are on set and they're not making the same movie. You just can. It's people that will feel like, you know, this is all about them and it's their time to shine. But in reality, if we making the same movie, everything counts. Everything matters. It's not just about one person and how this works out for one person or one character.
Was there a turning point when you knew this could be more than a dream? It could be a real career?
Yes, that was seeing people I was close to pivot and work full time in this industry based on how they were able to just grow and their direction, their trajectory was keep working until it happens. So for me, that was seeing one of my best friends, Chastity Hart, make her first short film. I said, oh, if you can make one, I can make one. And then that was seeing my homie Dace go work for Fox as a producer. And if you can get there, as talented, as smart as he is, it just gave me inspiration. I know I could get there. I know it's rooms for us. I know it's spaces for our ideas and they're valuable. So that's something that, helped me see that this isn't just for passion, it's a business. Netflix is worth over 300 billion. I want to make movies. There's a place for that. And you have to just believe it. You have to just see it through.
How has your voice as a creative evolved over the years, in your opinion?
I love that. My voice has evolved over the years because it shifted from what I thought people wanted to see to stories I felt like I had to tell. Characters I felt like I had to include. A lot of the time, that's to honor somebody. In South Florida, I've seen so many friends and family members pass away, and just recently I was watching Get On Up, the James Brown
Oh yeah, with Chapman.
film with Chadwick
Yeah,
Boseman, and the two main characters in that film are no longer with us, and it's it's very sad. But my great grandmother was a huge James Brown fan, huge, and to be able to see his story and to see actors that are no longer with us deliver so brilliantly, I was reminded that James Brown, as important as he was to my grandmother, that wasn't the same for me because I didn't know about all of James Brown's accomplishments
right.
almost until I seen Get On Up, right? So not that he wasn't important in the culture, because he was on BT Awards and different
Yeah,
stuff, and but
and the stuff he
not
did for us, like black people.
yeah,
Yeah,
but it was a very different perspective of seeing him because he was he was in the news his whole career,
right.
basically, like up until he kind of passed away. Like he was even on the news talking. You see some clips of James Brown, it's like, what was he talking about?
Yeah, he was
But
sacrificing a lot from
exactly, but he was a
financially.
great businessman and
Yeah.
he was a great entertainer, and a lot of great, great artists followed in his footsteps, and that's why
Mhm.
he's important. And to see a movie about him, that just reminded me, like, something as simple as, you know, entertainers that came before us,
Right.
and
They paved the
and the
way
blues, and and
from around those
and
times.
soul is,
Yeah.
we have to tell our stories.
Right.
So shifting my perspective from what people want to see to the stories I felt like needed to be told, that helped me find my voice.
Yeah. Especially around those times. Like they
Yeah.
sacrificed a lot,
Yeah.
a lot, and the fact they was able to,
They would lose a whole fortune,
right.
come back, make it back,
Hmm.
and still, like, I respect it.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I said we in greatest time in our lives right now versus how it was back then. You
Yes.
know. So let's tap into the art perspective and your identity and the perception. How do you think your art shapes how people perceive you?
I think my art shapes how people perceive me because I'm a black woman. I am somewhat outspoken, and I know that working on family films, that can be seen as only relevant to black people, but I feel that there's so much happening in the world. There's so much that true storytelling encompasses. I don't feel like stories are just meant to impact one set of people. I think it's for everybody, and how people perceive me, I would hope that through my work they're able to see that I care as a person and I care about people in general.
When did you first feel like you found your voice? Not just a skill set, but something uniquely you.
I feel like I found my voice when I was writing, when I was able to convey what I felt. And my grandmother told me, I finally get it. And I was talking about my childhood and just my experience. And I think that's just a human reaction to being able to tell a story. And even the people that lived it are touched by it, not just because I'm telling it, but because other people can learn something.
Do you ever feel the pressure to represent your community correctly? And how do you navigate that?
I do feel pressure to represent my community responsibly, to make sure I'm being authentic and telling authentic stories, and not just showing stereotypes or not just showing what um, has already been portrayed. I think it's my responsibility to show, even if I'm talking about the same things, to show it in a way that's true to me, to show it in a way that is my version of it. So I respect Lena Waithe creating The Shy, because that may not be everybody's version of Chicago. It's her version of Chicago.
Right.
And I feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that we're being authentic, because that's when people could truly understand us and relate to us from those stories that we're telling and representing.
What from presenting um, you know, a story based on like, where we come from or our community, what stories do you feel most responsible for telling, and which ones do you feel are not yours to tell?
I feel responsible for telling family stories, um, that can be any kind of family, that can be true for anybody in the world, and not just black people or foundational black people. Um, I'm also Haitian American, so I think that there is truly a responsibility to make sure that we are sharing stories of culture. And even though I have Haitian culture, sometimes because I didn't grow up with that, I don't feel like it's my place to tell. I also feel that way about things that can still be triggering. If this is something that can hurt people, if this is something that I'm not able to tell in a way that brings new information, brings love and sincerity to a story, then it may not be for me to tell because I don't want to disrespect or hurt somebody from the work that I make.
Is your voice something you feel like you're still discovering, or do you feel rooted in it now? Or is it forever evolving?
I feel like I'm still evolving because as proud of I am of how far I come, I know I still have a long way to go. I still have more to learn. I know that it's important to remain a student. So I feel like I'm continually finding and perfecting my voice because you have to be able to tap into what you think, the idea that you like, that 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 memory, that color that makes you think of happiness, sadness, and nobody can do that for you. So that's your voice. It's not just in the words you write on the paper that the characters are saying. It's the clothes they wearing. It's the art that's in the room. It's all of those things. So you can't take that for granted, and you have to sharpen that every time. So anytime I find something I like or love, that's my voice.
Right,
That's what means something to me.
right. Do you feel more seen or more exposed when you put something deeply personally in your art?
When I put something deeply personal, I feel more seen, um, and I feel grateful to be able to share something that means a lot to me, that may make somebody else feel, and how songs can make a person happy or sad. Movies and stories can make people remember and reflect, and to me, that's great art. Being able to make people feel what you feel.
Let's talk about the trauma element of storytelling. It might get a little deep and dark, but we in motion. Do you think writers and filmmakers have a responsibility when dissecting trauma? If so, what does that look like to you? I know it was deep.
Yeah, writers do have a responsibility when they're depicting any trauma, just because, again, it's something that could trigger people and not just you. You can't think of yourself as the audience. You have to actually think of your audience when you're portraying something that can be sensitive or hard to digest. That can be a mother going through a miscarriage. That can be a woman being sexually assaulted or violated. That can be a man being attacked and harmed. Um, that can be police violence. Anything that has to do with trauma, you want to approach that with not only care, but making sure that this story is not going to re-traumatize the audience is for, but actually bring something positive to the conversation. And it doesn't have to have a happy ending to bring something positive to the conversation, because I think of movies like Fruitvale Station, where that wasn't an easy watch,
Mm-mm.
but it added something to the conversation that I felt like at the time really gave context to what was happening. And it's a lot of films that do that and have done that. Um, but even though it was a lot of trauma within the film, the cinematography was beautiful. The storyline was too. The focus of the film was done with care. And I think as storytellers and as filmmakers, we do owe that to our audience to make sure that we are being caring.
How do you stay grounded while constantly pouring into stories, teams, and audience? Because you know it's a lot of thinking, a lot of things that goes into these different departments. You're not just thinking about one department. I don't care if you just I don't give a damn. You the PA. You thinking about different outlooks of the different positions and roles.
For sure. Staying grounded is making sure you're being kind. No matter how stressed out you are, you're not more stressed out than the next person. They're a person, an individual too, with families and lives that they may have to be dealing with. And yeah, you may have more pressure on you to deliver. It may be uh, a situation where your name is the one that's on the line, but that doesn't mean that, you know, you can be insensitive or just not be present, because to me that's what helps you stay grounded. um, and just knowing that you have new things to learn on every set will teach you something different. And if you can remember that, it's easier to deal with people in their departments and what they may be going through and the differences and changes that may happen on your set.
So right now we in our final reflections towards the interview. I just want to get your thoughts on how you feel about not only you but this life as a whole, right? So when you look back on everything you've created so far, what are you most proud of? It could be anything.
Everything I've created so far, I'm most proud of the people I've worked with, the people that have told me I made a difference, that I got better at my job every day, the people that have told me that I took care of them when they work with me, because I'm a nurturer. I want to make sure that on my set, there's nothing you can't ask for that I can provide that you won't have. There's nothing that I can do to make my cast or crew more comfortable that I won't do. And just actually being intentional and spending time together. I think that being able to have community is one of one of the things I'm most proud of, because the people that I've worked with have chosen to work with me over and over again. And I think that not only does it keep me working, but it keeps me pushing for being the best director, leader, filmmaker, producer, and writer I can be.
What kind of mark do you want to leave, not just as an artist, just as a person as a whole in this world?
I want people to believe in themselves, believe in their dreams. I want people to say, I seen Troy do it, I could do it. The same way I have been able to see, I've seen this person do it, so I know I could do it. And to know that we are stronger together. I know when I go on to my next project, to my next phase, that the thing I leave people with is that I cared and I tried my hardest, because at the end of the day, how you show up is how people remember you. And I think it's important not to just think about how you want to feel, but how you want to make others feel. And I know for a fact that as hard as it is, it's never a time where you may need somebody to motivate you. And I try to motivate all the people around me. So I hope that anybody that believes they want to be in this industry can see this and know that, yeah, it's space for you. It's room for you and your voice, the way you want to tell it, the way you want to do it, because there's no right or wrong way. There is no guidebook to this, but you have to show up every day. You have to believe and see it past what anybody else can believe and see for you, because you have to have the vision. Nobody is gonna make your dreams come true for you. And if you keep working, it don't matter if it take 10 years. You can get there if you slowly put that work in.
Yeah, you already beat me to my next question. I was going to ask you what advice, and maybe you could still answer this, but what advice would you give to someone trying to find their voice in a world full of noise?
I didn't answer that. I didn't answer that.
That's crazy though, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. To someone trying to find their voice, you have to be able to be still, to be able to listen to the morals and the things that guide you and the art that you want to see, and the art that you want to be in this world. Because I always remember that art is reflective of the times. It's going to be a time period far away from now when they look back at this and they think of the podcasts, the interviews, the movies, the films, the TV shows that are out. They're like, that's what 2025 was like. That's what that era was like. And we were authentic, and we was able to truly be a voice of our people, of our generation. And that's what's important. So finding your voice is being able to say something that's true about right now and to you.
So, Troy, what's next for you creatively, personally, that you're excited about?
You know what? This is just for you. Top secret. No. What's next for me is a feature film. I'm writing my first full length feature film, and I'm excited. It is going to be based on my own experiences. It's going to include the leaders and kids in my life, um, and just combining everything I love about South Florida. So I am making my first feature,
Let's
and I
go.
can't wait.
Let's go. I can't wait either. And just give it a little spoiler out here, man. You know, me and Troy, she helped well, y'all we said it earlier in the interview, but she helped me write my short film. So we're gonna be working on my short film as well as her being the writer and the producer. So I guess that's a little nugget for everybody, a little
I
sneak
can't
peek.
wait for that. I didn't know if I could give that up, so I didn't. But yeah,
Yeah,
that too. I'm
yeah,
excited to do it.
yeah,
Run it back
yeah.
with the crew, with the
You about to say
fam.
the name?
I was. I
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
I
but
didn't. I passed the vibe check.
yeah. So, where can the people follow you or follow your journey and support your work?
You can follow me on Instagram, troy.jay. And I am also on IMDb under Troy Veal, where you can see my latest short films. You can see the description, also the movie posters, and there are links to those films as well there. And in Boston on June 27th, I will be at the MFA, the Museum of Fine
Hey,
Arts, premiering a short film I produced called Easy Money.
shout out to you, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. One last question. I want to end it like this. If someone walks away from this interview remembering just one thing you said, what do you hope it is? You can take your time. Take your time.
One thing I would want someone to walk away from this interview knowing is that film is accessible to us. And it's not only a medium for artists, it is also for education. It's also a business venture that we should see ourselves in. Again, there's companies that are worth billions of dollars because they have been able to bring entertainment, and there's value in whatever entertainment you are able to create and showcase, because there's art all around us. And seeing ourselves in this industry isn't just seeing ourselves because we want representation in the voice. It's also to earn. And you don't have to be a football player, you don't have to be a rapper, you don't have to just be, in a certain career, or shout out to my nurses, correction officers, all of that, right? People do things in this industry every day on their time off, before work, after work. I do. I work full time and I still make time for the things I love and to make projects that mean something to me until I'm able to do what I love all the time. But at the end of the day, you just have to see yourself exactly where you want to be and know that it's for everybody.
That was very powerful. Troy, I thank you again. Thank you for it's well one, it's truly an honor again. You're a great writer. Um
The honor is mine.
every time we encounter is nothing but love, is always good energy, and it's always I think we always, you know, teach one another, and that's a good thing, especially in our community that we come from. So it's truly an honor, and I'm wishing you the best and many more blessings to come. And happy belated, by the way.
Thank you. No, this one, the next one, and everyone after that, I appreciate it. It's always about.
All right, we out.